Hi again, it's me, Cinnamon. I'm a 25-year-old working a corporate job who loves all things personal finance, especially budgeting, and today I'll be budgeting my second paycheck of September. So my ready to assign amount is $4,020.70, and this is after taxes and after taking out all of my paycheck deductions, and still I have 7 overspent categories. Let's just get right into it. I'm not going to do too much preamble this time because I'm genuinely curious about what is happening with my budget. One thing to say, I guess, that might clarify why I'm going to have so many overspent categories is that I don't necessarily check ynab before I spend. I check ynab when I make these videos, and that is going to provide me with a snapshot of my finances, and I basically make my financial decisions for the next 2 weeks based off that snapshot. It could be problematic if I was making really big purchases and I couldn't keep track of the math in my head, but for the most part, I don't make many big purchases, or I guess change my spending trends too often where I do need to like literally open the budget every single day. And I think that does also explain a lot of why I'm seeing so much drama in the ynab subreddit that I'm not relating to, because I have never ever used the ynab app. Like, very, very rarely will I check the app, and I just did because I saw the app icon change and it kind of looked weird to me. So I don't know, I just took a brief look at it and I think the new UI is kind of cute, but I'm not an app user, so I can't really speak to the frustrations people are seeing there. But yeah, I do see overspent categories, and I'm not too nervous because I don't really pre-fund my categories. Um, in many ways, because of that, it might look like I'm using ynab just for spending tracking and not so much for budgeting. And I would largely agree with that, but what I do use ynab for when I do budget is how I handle the flow of my money. And I like to just, even if this is overkill, have that be super well managed from the get-go, because it kind of makes it impossible for me to truly overspend if I am following my money flow. Okay, I said I'd get right into it, but look at me. Anyway, so this is my second paycheck, and with my second paycheck, I already know that I would have covered my next month's holding, which is what you see right here. And some things that I've already handled before getting into this budget as well is that I put in my reimbursements from work. So I got $345 in reimbursements for my transportation that I've, put off applying for. So that is good. And yeah, I just took that out the moment I got it because I knew once I got into filming, I would forget about that and make another mistake in my flow. Okay, so set for the next month, specific sinking funds. I don't set here. I only contributed. Oh, see, this is good that they have this history, and also why I don't really like to move things around mid-month because I was already getting confused. But yeah, I'd already maxed out my general sinking funds, or put in the amount I target for my general sinking fund. So I know, looking through history, that that is fully funded. So I'm actually done with this already. And okay, yeah, I'm looking back. I had to unassign something for my community chest because I'd made a mistake when I was tracking my reimbursements. But aside from that, now I'm going to put the full $1,000 to my community chest. So this time I had only really added $890, and it added to what I'd already put in. But yeah, I just type in the 1,000 instead of trying to do the math because it all works out the same way. So that is done there, and the rest of this is going into my investments. I do want to have a video where I talk a little bit about if I'm going to change what I'm going to do for the last 3 months, because I have way exceeded not only like my investment targets in terms of what I'm contributing to my investments, but also the market performance has just made my growth this year insane. I'm just trying to see if I might want to do something different with my money. I like sticking to the plan that I set at the top of the year for sure, but, when there are extraordinary circumstances and there are other things in my life that are not going to plan, like my work and my relationship in some ways, I feel like it's okay to reevaluate. So I might do that. Okay, that is all for the budgeting. I'm gonna handle my overspent categories now. Just gonna take an overview of what I'm overspent in. Oh, see, confusing. Okay. Groceries and eating out is expected because I knew that I didn't fully fund these categories up front since I didn't get my work reimbursement yet. So that I'm going to cover with work reimbursements. Overspent a little bit on commuting, but I actually didn't. They made a mistake in how they were like tracking our commuting because they switched to a new commuting system. And so, yeah, I basically wasn't getting tracked for some of the expenses I made in the past few months. So they showed up on this paycheck, right? And yeah, so I didn't actually spend $300 this month, but whatever. It is what it is. Next, let's see, what did I spend in this category? Okay, I had to buy some things from Walgreens. I also bought Curology. I like double stocked that. So all of these things are valid. And yeah, just having a duplicate of my Curology, there's so many things I have in my house that I have duplicates of, and I don't have a duplicate of my Curology anymore. And it's one of those things that like I don't want to be out of it for even a day. I am like very heavily dependent on my Curology for my skin to be clear. Girl next door, there's been crazy amounts of spending. So the first set of that has been shopping for first all of this stuff, like all of these three things to like organize my room, and oh my god, just has transformed my life. My mind feels clearer, like my flow of getting ready in the morning is so good now. I bought $200 sneakers. That was not the plan. I found $78 New Balances online and I wanted to get my feet just sized again. So I went in store and they didn't have those in store. And I was just going to go get my size and then leave. But the sales associate was so nice and she was helping me so much. So I just bought the model that I was testing out. And they are much nicer for sure. Like you can tell they look nicer and I'm happy with it. But I didn't ask about the price before I bought it. I don't know. Now looking back on it, it is silly, but for some reason I kind of have this thing in my head where it's like I feel embarrassed asking about the price of things. It's like just one of those things you see in like mean girl movies, like, oh my god, you have to ask. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. You know what I mean? But like that is such a silly mentality. Why can't I know the price of something? Anyway, she was not a mean girl at all, but that was that was my mindset going into it, and I feel so silly. I'm happy with them. I've been wearing them. It's good, but yeah, I'm like, how did I end up with $200 sneakers? But they fit and they're working so far. And today I just did like a makeup haul. Um yeah, so that's actually something that is kind of like in this weird space of, girl next door, like my aesthetic stuff, but also my artist state stuff because I as I've been activating my creativity, I've also been wanting to change a bit more my self presentation. And I don't really believe in makeup. If you guys have been watching my channel, like I believe in plastic surgery, I believe in science. No, 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 no. You know what I mean? It's like science versus art to me. So I'm like, if there's something I don't like, I'm like always more inclined to just be like, can I surgically fix this forever? And now I'm like, what if I just try makeup and come at it from a perspective of play? And so, yeah, I'm doing that. So I got a lot. I actually did not get that much. Makeup is so expensive. And I went to CVS. And yeah, like I thought drugstore makeup wasn't going to be expensive. I remember like back in the day shopping at Elf and just like buying so many things for like $3, which is insanity upon reflection. But oh my god, the prices now, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them. But I'm excited for this weekend. I'm gonna play around with some looks. um I'm so silly because I usually do like coral blushes, and I got something that was like more pinky. And I was like talking to my friend, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing something so wild. Look at this pink blush I got. And she's like, that looks very, very similar to the coral one of the same brand that you also got. I'm like,
Call me crazy if you want, but I've never liked store-bought pesto.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm going wild, but I know I'm not even taking that big of risks yet. And I'm excited to spend more in this category, even though it's truly going to bankrupt me. Like, I'm scared to step foot into Sephora. If this was Walgreens, I'm scared to step foot into Sephora. It is going to bankrupt me, but it was like, it was fun. Like, I got eyeliners and I was like, oh, I wanted to get so many colors. Of course I didn't because, they're expensive and I want to just practice and get really good at like eyeliner. But yeah, makeup is like fun. I see it now. I never really got that from it. I always like thought about it very pragmatically of like changing how my face looks. But now I'm like, oh, I see what you guys have been saying. Like I see the potential for fun and creativity in this. Okay, that was very long. And then what is this overspending? Oh yeah, met up with a middle school, high school friend, and it was actually elementary school. Like we've known each other since we were 10. And that was really nice. And yeah, I hope we get to hang out more. I haven't really felt super comfortable around people like that in a while. So that's really nice. It's always nice when you just see someone who knew you back in the day. Okay, now yeah, I think I'm happy actually not pre-funding things because it also does make it very easy when I film to like know which categories are going to be interesting to talk about. Um, did these show up? Oh, this one did. Yeah. Okay, so ooh, let's just take this one out. I have more overspending than what this category can cover. My this month's holding, which is what I use to reimburse myself. Let's One reason for that is because I have a proper 7-Eleven addiction. Like I've been going to 7-Eleven every day and getting myself a little treat. I did get Shake Shack once. 7-Eleven addiction is killing me. So, what am I going to do here? Wait. Why is this? Okay. Mm, reset available amounts. That's $400. Okay. I'm not going to be too picky about how I'm covering this because I know I'm really getting screwed by the miscalculation with work stuff. Oh, I also have my discretionary category. Okay, cool. I'm gonna be fine. So I'm gonna cover that with this month's holding. So what I just did was I zeroed those categories out and I'm not gonna go one by one and cover them. That's like too much work for me. I'm just going to see how negative I am and then pull out of categories to cover. Okay, so I'm $76 negative. Let's see if there's anything in my existing categories I can use. I don't like to use household utilities. I can't believe I already took out of rent. That is crazy. Let's see if I have history for that. Huh, I only assigned the 1650. That is atypical for me. I don't know why I would do that. Again, I obviously have money. I don't know why I'm over contemplating this, but I'm gonna do something weird. So let's just what I'm doing right now is because I do care a little bit about the tracking, just a little bit. So I'm moving the money to discretionary, then cover my ready to assign with it. I don't know. I don't want to cover my ready to assign directly from holding. Yeah. Oh, my ynab came out and I had extra money in my financial planner category, so that could have also helped. It's fine. For now, I'm going to do the same thing here, zero these out, and then I'm going to cover them with holding. Not too bad. I'm going to go to my community chest category and separate my giving that's for donations. I don't know. Once I actually get into ynab, I end up being so like frazzled sometimes. because I'm completely surprised by what I see. I don't pre plan. Like, sometimes I have pre planned what I'm going to do in a video for sure, if it's truly overwhelming and I'm like very curious. But this one, I just don't know. I'm like, let's handle it. Okay. So now all my overspending is covered. I want to think a little bit more about the next month. Do I have another thing coming out for groceries? I don't think so. I don't know when I get charged for my Cook Unity. So, yeah, it would technically be in October that I would get charged again for Cook Unity. So that's fine. Groceries, eating out, I'm banned. I'm banned and I can do it for the next few days. Um, I am going to see a friend this weekend though, so I should populate some money into my social category. And I'm just going to try to even out my holding category by moving money to social. It is okay to also pre-organize things. I know I'm contradicting myself. I don't have strong opinions on what is right to do here because I see so many people do different things in ynab, and I just kind of go back and forth on this. Largely, I know it's unnecessary for me to pre-populate, and yeah, I think like with the way I have a large holding category, I know I'm going to be able to cover most things I'm going to spend on throughout the month, but I like pre-populating just when I'm going over my plans for my life, you know? Okay. I do need to like genuinely go over my Trello board and think about my next month. So in my next month video for October, I can speak much clearer on what I need financially. Um, what else am I gonna do? I'm probably not gonna go buy more makeup. Like September is over, so I'm not too worried about more spending. Um, yeah, I think only the friend thing is something I'd like to cover ahead of time. Yeah, my concern was about my next month because I don't think I'm going to be getting. Let's just see what this underfunded number is. Yeah. Okay, I think with the way my reimbursements are going to go next month, I think I'm actually going to be fine funding this. I might not pre-fund commuting much and see how that goes. That might be the move there. Yeah. Okay. I just want to keep an eye on groceries and eating out because I know I wasn't able to fund them ahead of time, and that ideally wouldn't happen. I know it was because I was behind on my reimbursements, but I really want to make sure next month I'm at least funding them halfway, um, when I start my budget. If not, I might change my next month's holding number to make that the case. Okay. Budget's largely cleaned up. Um, One thing that I started thinking about since my last video is I want to use money to solve my life's problems. And yeah, I want to start thinking about how can I use money to solve some of my life's problems, and maybe sometimes money itself is just a problem, and I want to reflect on that when I film. So right now, money isn't my problem, but I have been using it to solve some of my life's problems. And one thing about me is my shopping behavior historically has been heavily one of research. I don't really enjoy shopping because to me it means like opening so many tabs, overwhelming my computer, research, and just never getting a very clear answer on the thing that I should be buying. And the reason I put so much research into shopping is because I was always like, I don't have the money to waste. Obviously, in my life, I don't want to be wasteful, but I was in many ways wasting my time and draining myself. And now I'm using money to solve one of my problems. And instead of researching so heavily, I'm experimenting. I think the makeup is a really good example. I would, even as someone who like was not a makeup girly, I would be watching all of those YouTube channels of makeup tutorials, trying to figure out which products are the best and all of these things to maybe buy like the most basic blush in the history of blushes. It was so insane looking back on it. And now I'm like, I can use money to solve this research and analysis paralysis problem I have when I'm shopping and just like buy the thing and be okay if like I end up wasting the money and be happy that I didn't waste my time. Because a lot of these things too, and why the research never satisfied me, is like I kind of just have to try it to know. Sometimes you buy products and they're gonna suck. And that's not in every product space, right? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe it is every product space. I feel like makeup, especially, has been one of those things where it's like it is so personal. It is so personal to your skin. It is so personal to the face of your shape. It is so personal to like the face of your shape, the shape of your face. It is just so personal, right? That I could never do any research that would guarantee me results. I think there are a few things that like I'm happy I researched, like when I was considering which hair tool to buy, hair dryer to buy. That was cool because like they were functionally doing different things and I needed to really like get exact on what functionality I needed. But still, you know, I could have done less research. But yeah, I think there are just a lot of products that like you just have to experiment and you have to be okay if like the product isn't good or not the thing you wanted, and not villainize even like the company sometimes. Sometimes I get really mad at companies for having bad products. I don't know. I'm so silly. But it's like, okay, this was bad for me. Maybe this does work for people, keeping an open mind about that. And yeah, experimenting. Um, this habit of mine of overly researching, not only because I wanted to save money, but just feeling in some ways that that was actually optimizing my life more, is a flaw. It's a deep flaw. I think optimizers, we are praised a lot in society. Like, you will optimize, and I feel like a lot of the things I've optimized in my life, I've been praised. Um, and actually were rarely like critiqued enough. I think some of this critique has been coming out more so. Like, I've seen more articles about the failures of being an optimizer with dating, where Meet Seti talks about the failures of being an optimizer with money. And I haven't really resonated with what those failures he's called out have been. Like, but I found my own failure with optimizing with money, um, which is kind of the fact that research, through research, you try to preemptively come to an answer, but through experimentation, you have data points that will drive you to an answer. And when you look and try to come to an answer one shotted, right? You're more likely to get stuck at like a local maximum. But when you're truly trying to find a global maximum, you need to explore your solution space. And this is so funny because this is like literally what I do at work. And, like AI, machine learning, like that is like the foundational principle behind it, where when you're training like an AI model, it's like jumping all over the place and just like, oh, okay, well, I made this move and I'm doing better now, or I made this move and I'm doing worse now. And it does that like millions and millions of times, trillions of times. I don't even know. It depends on the model. But yeah, it does that a lot. And that's how it comes to pretty good answers. And I need to do that more. Um, yeah, I have so many thoughts on this. I want to talk about that more in my October like reset video, where I realized I've realized this month that I've been keeping myself in a local maximum, and I think I need a crash to truly get to my global max. Okay. Yeah, that's all. um Let me know if that idea resonates with you. Like, where do you feel like you are in sort of the solution space of your life? I don't even know if that way of phrasing it is good enough. Like, I know I could phrase it better. As someone who is also watching budgeting videos, do you resonate with this idea of being an optimizer? How has that impacted your life, and how have people perceived you because you're an optimizer? Are there any like discrepancies, right, between your lived experience as an optimizer and what people think being an optimizer is like? Because I think a lot of people think, oh, you're an optimizer, so you must be constantly making good decisions. But actually, a lot of optimizers are making like subpar decisions. They're not bad, but they're like actually not as good as they could be. Um, yeah. So let me know. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.